At 3:15 p.m., a 31-year-old named Marcus discovered a campsite with a pot of soup still steaming on the fire. He never reached it before sunset like he'd planned. Marcus had been hiking the Cascade Trail outside Portland for 5 days. He wasn't a serious hiker, more like someone who'd bought expensive gear at REI and actually wanted to use it. The trail was supposed to be moderately difficult, well-marked, and extremely safe. Thousands of people hiked it every summer. Marcus had downloaded offline maps, told his sister his route, packed a satellite communicator. He was being responsible about it. By day 5, he felt like an actual outdoorsman. His legs had stopped burning. He could pitch his tent in 8 minutes. He'd seen elk, a black bear from a distance, and learned that trail mix gets really boring on day 4. He was making good time, too. If he pushed it, he could reach the northern trailhead by evening and avoid paying for another night's camping fee. The Cascade Trail cuts through dense forest for most of the way. Douglas firs tower above you so thick that even at noon, the light comes through in pale yellow columns. It gets quiet in there. Not peaceful quiet. The kind of quiet where your own breathing seems too loud. Marcus noticed it around mile 42 of his journey. The bird sounds had stopped completely. He'd walked for nearly 2 hours without hearing anything, except his boots on packed earth and the occasional snap of a dead branch. That's when he smelled smoke. Wood smoke is normal on hiking trails. Responsible people still campfire. But this smoke was fresh and strong, which meant the fire was recent. Marcus checked his map. No campsites were marked for another 3 miles. He told himself it was probably just someone camping illegally, and he should keep moving. But curiosity did what curiosity always does. It made him step off the trail. The campsite sat in a small clearing, maybe 50 yards from the main path. Someone had set it up well. A proper fire ring made from stones. A tent, blue, relatively new-looking, pitched on flat ground. A picnic table salvaged from somewhere, and at the edge of the fire pit, a blackened pot sitting on a metal grate, steam rising from it in lazy spirals. Marcus called out, "Hello? Anyone here?" Nothing. Just forest pressing in from all sides. He waited a minute, then approached slowly. The pot was definitely actively cooking. He could see it now, vegetable soup, carrots, and celery visible in the broth. Beside the pot, on a piece of flat rock, sat a spoon, still wet. A bowl lay upside down nearby. Fresh water bottles sat in a cooler, condensation beating on the plastic. One was half empty, positioned as if someone had just set it down. "Hello?" Marcus called again, louder. "I'm a hiker. I don't mean to intrude. I just want to make sure everything's okay." His voice echoed slightly and died. The forest didn't answer. The tent flap was partially open. He could see a sleeping bag inside, rolled up but not packed. A backpack leaned against one side. Hiking boots sat outside the tent entrance, placed neatly side by side. Everything suggested someone had stepped away moments ago. The soup's steam hadn't even started condensing on the surrounding rocks yet. Marcus estimated the fire had been burning for maybe an hour, maintaining perfect temperature. That took attention. That took someone feeding it regularly and checking on it. And then, with the pot sitting peacefully over active flames, they'd simply vanished. He moved to the tent and peered inside more carefully. He could see the shape of the sleeping bag, some plastic bags of food, a headlamp still switched on and sitting upright, its beam pointing at the tent wall. Why would someone leave a headlamp on in daylight? Unless it wasn't daylight when they last used it. Unless they'd planned to need it when they returned. "Hello?" Marcus called, one more time, feeling genuinely uneasy now. "Is someone hurt? Do you need help?" The forest remained silent. Even the wind had stopped moving through the trees. Marcus backed away from the tent. He told himself the logical explanation. Someone had stepped away from their campsite briefly. People did that. They went to find water, to use the bathroom out of sight, to explore. They'd be back any minute. But something in his stomach wasn't buying it. Something about the way that soup steamed so patiently, the way those boots sat so deliberately arranged, the way the fire had been tended with such care and then abandoned. He noticed something else then. At the far end of the clearing, maybe 30 feet from the campsite, the forest floor was disturbed. Branches had been broken deliberately, snapped off at roughly chest height in a line pointing deeper into the woods. Fresh breaks. The exposed wood inside was pale, barely oxidized. Within the last few hours, definitely. "I'm going to go get help," Marcus said aloud, talking to the absent camper, to the universe, to himself. "I'll be back with a ranger." He was backing toward the trail when he heard it. A sound so distant it might have been wind, but probably wasn't. A sound like someone calling, but from very far away. It came from the direction those broken branches pointed. Marcus didn't call back. He didn't follow the branches. He turned and walked fast toward the trail, his hiking boots crunching too loudly on the forest floor. He didn't look back at the campsite. He definitely didn't look at that steaming pot of soup, waiting patiently for whoever or whatever had been tending it to return. He reached the ranger station at 6:45 p.m. A ranger named Sarah drove back out with him immediately. They found the campsite exactly as Marcus described it. But the tent was empty. The sleeping bag was gone. The backpack was gone. Only the pot remained, the soup now cold and congealed, a thin film of grease floating on top. No one was ever reported missing in that area. No one came forward to claim the campsite. Sarah filed a report about abandoned camping equipment, but nothing more came of it. Marcus didn't finish his hike. He got a ride back to Portland that night and hasn't been back to the Cascade Trail since. Subscribe for more true horror.